All right, good evening, everyone. Matthew, can we get some stage lights, please? There we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the pastor and executive director here. This is Carrie. She is the associate executive director here. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to all of you joining us online on Facebook or YouTube. We're glad you're part of this community. A few things you should know about this community. We are a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there's always one thing we don't do. You can shout it out on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame. But there's a lot of things coming up that you might want to know about. And Carrie's going to tell you all about them.
Ooh, I feel like this is really loud tonight. Is that just me?
Really
all right, I'll just whisper. If you're new with us, welcome. We would love to get to know you. Just outside of these doors, you'll find some volunteers wearing the lanyards. I know in this front row here we have Erica, David, and Akai, and I know there was a couple in the back who are also greeting, but if you go through these doors after service, we can get you connected with a welcome bag. Inside the welcome bag, you can find some fresh roasted Wagon coffee from the extraordinary Tammy Kennedy and her team at Wagon Coffee, as well as some free swag and our Connect card. Our Connect card is how you get signed up to the newsletter, and you're going to hear all of these fun things. I'm going to actually probably say them rather fast this evening because there's a lot in a short amount of time. So if you ever need to go back, if you're on our newsletter, you can find out all of this information. You can also go to our socials at any time and our Facebook page. All right. Now, this is where the fun begins, guys, because next week we are just getting super festive around here. Next Friday, we are having our party in the parking lot. This is so fun. We're getting Love Pop food truck. This one is a completely free event, including the food.
And the desserts
are like ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're like all these like sugary, amazing treats. There's some gluten-free treats as well. We're going to have fire pits, even though I don't know that we're really going to need them because it's supposed to be gorgeous, but we're going to pretend it's cold Colorado.
It's close to 70 degrees on Friday.
It's like what? It's like not. I feel like we're in Southern California.
God loves us. Beautiful.
But we're gonna pretend it's super festive-y and cold and Christmassy. And then we're also gonna be collecting items in our wagon. We're gonna fill them up with warm clothing items as well as non-perishable foods, so we can give those to our friends in the community who are in need. The following day, next Saturday, is when we're going to have our Christmas Eve service here. So this is on Saturday. This is it's one of my favorite services of the entire year. Sarah Hornbuckle will be singing. We'll be passing around candles. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful time, both at the 5 and the 7 p.m., so please come to that. And then the following Saturday, do not come because we will not be here. You can come to meetings here, but both Ryan and I and any staff, the cafe, all of us take 2 weeks each year just to rest, and that will be on December 27th.
Yeah, 1 week after Christmas and then the Saturday sometime in July.
Yes. Yeah. And then... No, you're right. You're dry. Sorry. And then next, this one's super fun, and I know it's super awkward to kind of promote yourself, so I get to be Ryan's hype man, which I absolutely love. So we actually have his book, which is he had just, I think, got him in this week.
Yes, this week.
He has spent so much time on this, guys, and all of the proceeds are going back to support our mission of breaking the silence of addiction. So I highly encourage you. You can buy them in the cafe. They're $13. If you're watching online, I'm going to drop the link in the comments where you can buy it on
Amazon.
I was going to say Facebook, not Facebook, Amazon. So again, all the proceeds benefit Free Recovery Community, but I just want to ask you guys for a super extra plug. I know it's Christmas, but this guy does so much for us, so this is a way that we can all give back to him, support him, and this is like, he pours so much into this community, so this is a way that we can give back to him.
Well, thank you,
That's
Carrie.
all I got.
All right, y'all. Well, before we start with some celebrations, it is the third week in Advent. the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, a time of preparation. Josh and Leanne, where are you? Josh and Leanne. There they are. Y'all can come on up. They're going to do some lighting of, we'll light 3 candles tonight because the first week we did hope. Then the next week, does anyone remember what the next week was? Peace. And tonight's joy. But we're going to light all 3, hope, peace, and tonight's joy. And joy is the pink candle. Do you know why it's pink? Joy represents Mary carrying the Christ child. So we have joy. All right, Leanne and Josh, take us away.
This evening, we light 3 candles, the candles of hope, peace, and tonight, the candle of joy. This candle refuses easy happiness and reminds us that joy can survive, even in the waiting, even in the silence. We remember that the angel announced Christ's birth as good news of great joy, spoken into fear and darkness. And tonight, we step back into this story of joy and commit ourselves to carry that joy into a world that desperately needs it.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Josh. And you can give one of those mics to Chelsea. And I'm sure Josh would love to pass around a mic too. Y'all, the way we get started here on Saturday night is with celebrations. We start with the good, we lift up the good. Maybe you're celebrating a sobriety anniversary or whatever the new thing in your life or recovery it is, we celebrate all of it here. It's a profound part of our time together. God joins with us in the celebrations. We get to cheer for one another. If you're online, drop your celebration in the Facebook comments or the YouTube comments, and we'll join with you there. And we take 3 minutes for this. If you're in-house, just raise up your hand and get a mic. Josh has one on this side. Chelsea has one on this side. And this 3 minutes is yours.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm going to celebrate my friend Christy coming up from New Mexico to spend the weekend with me. All things recovery.
Yeah, glad you're here, Christy. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I am celebrating 798 days sober and my friend's first time at service with me.
All right, way to go, Sarah, and welcome, new friend.
My name's Matthew, and on Wednesday, I celebrated 18 months clean and sober.
Way to go, Matthew.
Yes.
Matthew on the tech team.
Good job.
Happy 18 months, buddy.
Hi, my name is Eli. I'm celebrating 48 hours clean and sober.
All right, Eli, glad you're here, buddy. Happy 48 hours. Carrie's got some a chip for you, Eli. Anyone in their first 30 days of celebrating anything gets one of these beautiful free chips to remind you that God goes with you. Others.
And my name's Jordan, and after 23 years of addiction, I'm celebrating 9 months and a week sober.
Way to go, Jordan. Good to see you, buddy.
My name's Jennifer. My sponsor, Jason, celebrated 21 years today, and I'm just so happy to have him in my life. So I'm celebrating Jason. Okay.
Jason with 21 years. Way to go, Jason.
Hi, my name is Nicole. On the 28th of December, I will be celebrating a year clean.
All right, Nicole. Way to go.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I've never been here before, but I'm here to help Chelsea celebrate. She's a neighbor of mine.
All right, she's our guest storyteller tonight. Yeah, we'll celebrate that. Welcome. What's all right, is that for Chelsea? we'll put it up here, and we'll give it to her when she comes up. And I think we had someone in Kai in the second row, Josh.
My name is Edward, and I get 90 days today, plus I just found out I get to talk to my daughter again here soon. I haven't done it yet, but it's been a long journey, so pretty excited.
All right, way to go, man. We'll celebrate that.
Very good.
And we got one more in the house.
I'm Kai, and I'm celebrating 1,002 days free of fentanyl.
1,002 days. Way to go, Kai. Happy 1,002. And Tammy Canaday, are you going to join me up here? Can I steal that mic from you, Josh? Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Chelsea. You want me to take that one? Tammy Canaday, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, guys. Good evening.
All right, you want to start with the first one?
Sure. Brett says 3 weeks free of gambling.
All right,
Love that,
Brett, way to go, dude. Glad you're here tonight. Renee says celebrating 131 days sober today. Way to go,
Thanks,
Renee.
Renee. And David, 21 years booze and dope free, I'm guessing.
All right. Way to go, David. That's not your David, right? Different. All right. We had 21 years tonight. That's a big deal. All right. Charles says, I celebrate recovery from alcohol addiction. 6 months clean and healthy. Excited for hearing Chelsea tonight. Yes, we will celebrate that, Charles. Happy 6 months.
Oh, Pam says, I'm a great aunt. Dang, that sounds. They were having a conversation about the weather online, so
Yes.
she was saying it was -1 where she was. I think that's what she was saying. That sounds cold. But we're
No,
happy you're
she
a
says,
great
dang,
aunt.
that sounds old.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry.
put a C in that.
I got too many conversations going in my
Maybe
brain.
she's old and cold.
Maybe both, right? -1 is cold.
Pamela, we're glad you're here. And we're celebrating that, the great aunt.
Oh,
Sometimes our mind tricks us.
well, there's a lot of different things happening.
Yes. Okay. Felicia says 74 days sober from.
The cold. Just
Sober from. 74 days sober, Felicia. We're celebrating
Good job,
that.
Felicia.
All right. Thank you, Tammy. All right, y'all. So we are in the third week of Advent. Third week in this series called The Gifts We Didn't Expect. Tonight is the gift of presence. And I want to talk some about, well, joy, because it's the week of joy. Take a look. So the word Advent, it comes from this Latin word called adventus, and it means arrival or coming. And each year churches during this Advent season, they proclaim it, that God is coming and light is breaking through the darkness and joy is being announced, and we wait. And in the wait, we try to find these quiet moments of joy. But let's play with this question. Is Advent only about us waiting for God, or is it also about a God who waits for us? And just a couple of very brief observations about joy and the wait. And the first one is this. God is not impressed with all the ways we try to disqualify ourselves from receiving the good and experiencing joy. And we can do this all the time, can't we? I mean, we can do it in very simple ways. And I can take a moment that's supposed to be joy, and I can, in a New York minute, turn it on its face. And you say, Ryan, how do you do that? Okay, let me tell you. It was my 4th sober birthday. 4 years sober. I wake up that morning, I'm feeling good. I'm even feeling a little closer to God. It's been 4 years, and I get up early because I'm going to go to my 6:45 a.m. meeting, And I get up, and Tammy's still asleep, my wife, and the kids are still asleep. And I go downstairs, and I turn on the coffee pot. And when I get downstairs, I notice that there's an envelope on the kitchen counter, and it's got my name on it. And so I do the next right thing, and I open the envelope, and there's this beautiful card in it, and Tammy wrote some very beautiful and kind words about me and telling me how she's proud of me and she's celebrating me. She even had the kids write a few things in it. And then inside of this card, well, there was a very pretty, fancy 4-year sober chip. Now, you would think this would be a great moment of joy, right? And I turn it on its face. Well, Ryan, how'd you do that? Well, my mind, it started tricking me. My mind started telling me stories, and my mind started saying to me, man, doesn't she know? Doesn't she know I've got to portray humility here, and especially on this day, I got to portray humility. And doesn't she know that's not the way AA works? You can't just buy me a fancy chip. No, I've got to go to the meeting, and I receive my chip there, and then I pass that chip around the meeting, and people give it some good mojo, and so that's what I'm going to do. And when I get home and when she wakes up, I'm going to let her know she's done it all wrong, and she can't do it this way. That's silly, isn't it? So I get in the car with the chip on my shoulder, and I go to this meeting, and yeah, you saw what I did there? I go to the meeting, and I receive my chip there, and then I pass it around so everyone could give it good mojo. And then after the meeting, I was talking to the guy sitting next to me. He was a friend of mine. And I said, dude, can you believe my wife had the audacity to buy me a really pretty, fancy 4-year chip? And he kind of lights up. And he says, oh, man, that's cool. Let me see it. I said, no, you don't understand. I didn't bring it with me. I left that at home. And he says, that's weird. Why'd you do that? And my mind is spinning these stories. I'm telling y'all. It's crazy, isn't it? My mind is telling me, man, if your story is wrapped up with hers and hers with yours, and by the way, it is because she was with me in active addiction and stood by me in recovery. But if people find this out, well, they're going to maybe know me more. And that's a very scary dilemma. And I don't just mean the big things. Yeah, of course they're going to know that I wasn't a good husband in active addiction. They might even find out the big things like I wasn't a good pops to my kids in active addiction, because we cannot do those things well in active addiction. But it's not just the big things. It's, man, if I have to tell this story, come to terms with this story, well, what if they start to find out and uncover the stories, the pieces about me that I don't really like, the pieces that I'm embarrassed about, the pieces that I'm ashamed to talk about? It's crazy, isn't it? And you would be right to ask me, Ryan, who told you that? Who told you that's the way AA and chips work? And who told you that's the way to keep stories separate? And who told you that? And I would say, no one told me that. And you might say, well, Ryan, why'd you believe that? Well, because I can spin these stories up here, and then I can start to believe them and live into them. And it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy because all she wanted to do was celebrate me. Why? Because we had been through some things, and in recovery, we got our marriage back. In recovery, we were building a family and a life together, and all she wanted to do was celebrate it. And there I was, 4 years sober, trying to disqualify myself from receiving the good and experiencing the joy, because I thought what God wanted for me to do was to portray humility, and God was saying, no, just please be humble, and there's a difference. And being humble means you go back in the house after that meeting and you actually experience the joy, and you express some gratitude, how grateful you are for her, how grateful you are for your sobriety. And y'all think about all those simple moments of good and joy that you have been invited into. Yeah. Do you have a pattern, a history of disqualifying yourself? You say, I don't really deserve it. I have a past. People might see the real me. Or you don't understand. If I get it, I'm going to fumble it. If I get it, I'm just going to wait for the next shoe to drop. If I get it, I won't meet people's expectations. If I get it, I'm going to disappoint people. And do you have a history of resisting joy because deep down you're afraid that you're not really worthy of it? Which leads to my second very simple observation about joy and the weight. See, even when we do try to disqualify ourselves, God waits for us because God never gives up on the good, and you, my brothers and sisters, are good. Last week, we looked at the story leading up to the Christmas moment in Matthew's gospel, and we did so, remember, we looked through the eyes of Joseph, who was Jesus' father. And last week I told you that next week, which would be tonight, that we were going to look at the story leading up to the Christmas moment from Luke's gospel. But tonight I want to do so through the eyes of Mary, who is Jesus' mother. And this story, what I love about this story, it's about a God who comes near and then waits. Are you ready? Here's how it goes, Luke chapter 1. When Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant, and by the way, just a word about Elizabeth. Elizabeth, we know from the text, she's a relative of Mary. The Greek is a bit fuzzy there, but many scholars assume that Elizabeth and Mary are cousins. We know the relatives, so we can assume they're cousins. It's a bit fuzzy, but we'll just go with cousin. When cousin Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth. And hold on to that. A city in Galilee, to a virgin who was engaged to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David's house. The virgin's name was Mary. And let's just pause here for one moment, because I want to revisit something we talked about last week. This is where some people, they like to check out of the story. And we talked about it last week. Oh, I love Christmas, but I can't do the Christmas story because I can't really relate to that, and that's not the way science works, and babies aren't exactly born from virgins, and I'm totally with you if you read this story as literal. You could read it as historical metaphor, and historical metaphor invites us into deeper questions. Why are they telling this story? Why are they telling it this way? Well, the gospel writers are telling this story. It's a huge heads up to say, pay attention. What's happening here, this is not done by humanity. This is being done by God. And by the way, let me remind you, in the Roman Empire in the first century, which is the world of Jesus, all the Roman emperors called Caesars, all the Caesars were said to be born of a virgin. It's what gave them their divine status. It's what told the people to pay attention, don't miss their life. Let's keep going, shall we? When the angel came to Mary, he said, "Rejoice, favored one, the Lord is with you." She was confused by these words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. And let's just pause for one more moment, because isn't it interesting? God's presence always interrupts the normal. I mean, think about it, y'all. She's not in a temple. She's not in a church. She's not on one of those pretty spiritual retreats where she's just praying and meditating and doing yoga. No, she is from Nazareth. It's a nobody town. And it's a normal Tuesday, and this angel arrives. An angel sent by God. And you say, well, why do you point that out? Because I know that some of y'all say, well, you just got to understand, Ryan, God doesn't really appear to people like me. God appears to the ones who are really spiritual. You know, the ones who have conquered fear, and they're always full of courage, and that's who God appears to. And I said, no. God appears to the normal and the ordinary, and joy begins there because God meets you where you are. And Mary hears this news on a normal Tuesday, and she's confused and she's afraid, and this makes sense to me. The angel said, "Don't be afraid, Mary. God is honoring you. You will give birth to a son." Then Mary said to the angel, "How can this be?" Yes, she's being told she's carrying good news in her body, and she knows she's a nobody. Of course she's resistant to that first word the angel used, rejoice. Of course she's a bit resistant to joy coming her way. This makes sense, doesn't it? Imagine what she might be saying to this angel from God. Dude, don't you get it? I am a nobody. I'm from a nobody town called Nazareth, and you know my people, the people in this town, we are poor, my family's poor, I don't have an education, and I'm not qualified for this, and how can this be? And do you know what I love about Mary? Mary doesn't fake joy. She doesn't try to skip to the ending. No, she welcomes fear in. She allows fear to be present in her life. And here's what I love about God in this story, that God doesn't say, or God doesn't have the angel saying, oh my goodness, Mary, you are absolutely right. Man, I just totally got it wrong on this one. I should have picked someone else. I should have picked someone from a different town. I should have picked someone with more money. I should have picked someone with some education. I should have picked someone who had more gifts and better gifts than you. No, God is persistent, because God never gives up on the good. And I imagine God saying to Mary, who told you that? The angel was present with Mary, present with all her confusion and fears and all the stories that she might spin up here, the same stories that you and I do. And the angel replied, the Holy Spirit will come over you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Nothing is impossible for God. And here's the moment of joy. And keep in mind, joy never ignores fear. Joy never tries to go around fear. Joy welcomes it in and then moves through it. Check it out. Then Mary said, I am the Lord's servant. Let it be with me just as you have said. In other words, Mary says, here I am, God. Let's do this. All right, God, here I am. Let's do this. And y'all, here's why I think this story is important. Here's why I think we need this story. Because isn't it true, sometimes we are so afraid of the life we are being invited into. We're so afraid of it. Maybe you remember what it was like when you were so afraid to really get clean and sober. You were so afraid, and this story started bubbling up in your mind. It started tricking you, and it started telling you how you're not really worthy. And then you start to disqualify yourself from all the good, all the joy. Or maybe you're so afraid of accepting forgiveness in your life or accepting forgiveness for yourself. Why? Because this story tells you you're not really worthy of it. So you begin to disqualify yourself from all the good, all the joy, or maybe you're afraid to take that new job. Because if they really knew me, if they really knew all the gifts that I do not have, well, they would know how unworthy I am, and so you disqualify yourself from the good, the joy, or maybe you are afraid of fully stepping into your life because somewhere along the way you believed you were unworthy and you started to disqualify yourself. And who told you that? Because see, a different voice said, the Holy Spirit will come over you and the power of the Most High, capital letters, will overshadow you. Nothing is impossible for God. Can you be willing to believe a different story? See, I think we need this story because Mary, she gives us the permission that I think we all need. She gives us the permission to say your fear is not disqualifying you, but you do got to stay present in the conversation. You do got to stay present to the invitation because you cannot afford to bolt. Do you know that last summer I was invited to be a keynote speaker at a conference? That conference is coming up this February. I was invited to be a keynote speaker of a conference that's filled with leaders of all kinds. And when I received this invitation, do you know what my first reaction was? My first reaction was fear. That story started to spin. My mind started to play tricks on me. My mind started telling me, Ryan, you can't do this. No, Ryan, stay in your lane, man. You know how to give sermons and how to prepare for those and deliver them. You know how to give talks. You know how to go around and even talk about free and what's happening here and everything that God's doing at free. And you know how to share your story. But Ryan, what are you going to say to them? Leadership, a keynote on leadership? What do you have to say to them? And I begin disqualifying myself. Ryan, who told you that? Well, no one told me that. But fear and resistance are very tricky in the story that gets spinning. It's very cunning. And what I know in my life now is God is still patient with me and patient with all my fears and all the stories I start to spin up in here. And what I know still is God waits on me a lot, and God probably waits on you a lot too. But what I also know is after I can get quiet for a minute, after I can actually enter into some silence, I can generally come out to, all right, God, here I am. Let's do this. And so I said yes to the invitation. And they said, great. They said, all you got to do is send us a bio, send us your headshot, and send us your speaking fee. And that made me nervous, but I said yes to it, and I sent it in the same day. My bio, my headshot, and my speaking fee. And almost 3 months go by, and I didn't hear anything from them. What do you think my mind starts spinning? Let's see if you would do this. My mind starts telling me, see, Ryan? See, dude, you said yes, dude. You should have said yes. You said yes to joy, but you do know the other shoe's going to drop. See, Ryan, you're not even good enough. You're not qualified enough. They found someone better than you. They found someone more competent than you. Yeah. And then about 3 months later, I received an email. An email was very simple. Thank you so much for sending us your stuff. Please see the speaker agreement in the attachment. And please send us a few lines about your keynote so we can begin preparing it. And I'm sitting there thinking, how can this be? How can this be since I'm not really good enough? How can this be since I don't really have what it takes? And still to this day, I lose sleep over it. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to say in that talk and that keynote to leaders? And there's something embarrassing about saying that out loud, because still a piece of me wants you to think that I could just go out there. I could just come up here on a Saturday night and it's nothing. It takes very little preparation, very little energy, and I could just do my thing. And I want you to think it's easy for me. And Ryan, who told you that? Who told you that? And then once I get quiet, once I can get in the silence, generally I can come back to the place of, all right, God, here I am. Let's do this. And part of let's doing this is planning. December 22nd. I've got the whole day carved out to work on this keynote, so don't text me. Don't call me on December 22nd. But what I know is in the wait, God waits for you. And listen, y'all, I don't know all your fears. I don't know all the ways that you try to disqualify yourself from the good and the joy, but I do know your resistance does not disqualify you. It's the thing that makes you human. But you do got to stay engaged in the conversation. You got to stay engaged in the invitation. You cannot afford to bolt. And I do get it. Maybe some of you here tonight, you have these really big fears, and it feels like you're just kind of in this waiting room. And that's okay. God waits with you. And in those moments, your stillness, your quietness, your silence is good, because you might hear Spirit speaking a word over you, that word that says, don't you know? God or Most High will overshadow your fears, overshadow the stories you make up in your head. And don't you know nothing is impossible with God, the one who goes with you. And y'all, here's the other reason I think we need this story. Because, see, Mary gives us the permission for joy to be very subtle, that it is not loud or obnoxious. And see, I don't think her, here I am, God, let's do this. I don't think it came with a bunch of exclamation points. I don't think it came with shouts of joy. I don't think it came with fireworks. But I think it came with a lot of mixed emotions and confusion and perhaps even silence. And maybe you're here tonight and you're feeling a little guilty that you don't have the joy of the season that whoever they are, that they tell you you're supposed to have. You just don't feel the joy of the season, and it feels like you're in a waiting room and you're not exactly sure what to do in this waiting room, and it's okay. I'm glad you're here. And I promise you, you are not alone. And I'll close with this. Last Wednesday, so just a few days ago, my wife Tammy, she received a bit of a scare with a medical phone call. The doctor called her and said, we need you to come back in. In fact, you can't wait. We need you here tomorrow. We found some things. And so on Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening, she was understandably so. She was shaken, kind of had some anxiety and some nervousness. And then she went to the doctor on Thursday, and she's in the waiting room, and in this waiting kind of short season. And then on Thursday evening, just a couple of evenings ago, she posted these words on her social media. The last 24 hours have quietly recalibrated my inner landscape. A follow-up screening, a waiting room, time slowing just enough to notice my breath, my thoughts, my body. I'm okay. The outcome was good, and I'm grateful. And I'm hyper aware that many are sitting in similar rooms, carrying uncertainty, waiting, hoping, praying. And if that's you, you're not alone in it. Holding both truths matter to me. It keeps me grounded. Today, I'm sitting with a continued awareness that every single day is a gift. My brothers and sisters, if it feels like you are in a waiting room in your life, it's okay. God waits with you and for you, and your fear does not disqualify you from joy. God waits with you, and sometimes that subtle joy is found in those moments of quiet, the moment of silence. So I want to invite you into a time of kind of silence. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Because this song, man, we played a song last week, O Come, Emmanuel, by the band Skillet, a rock band. I got a lot of messages about that. Y'all loved it. So I thought what we should do is bring in a heavy metal band. Yeah. Anyone know Disturbed? Disturbed, they did a cover of the song, The Sound of Silence, from Simon and Garfunkel. And some covers are better than the original. I personally, I think this is one of them. But I want to play this song, and it's an unexpected gift because there's a little bit of a twist in the song. This video took out the music, so it's vocals only, and Disturbed's lead singer, David Draymond, man, he has the voice of an angel. Kind of like a baritone angel, but the voice of an angel is beautiful. So I just want to invite you into a moment of silence, a moment of reflection, and here's the sound of silence. Sometimes I just got to flip a switch. If you're joining us for the first time tonight, well, you should know that every single Saturday night we have a guest storyteller to join us up in the living room to share some of their story with us. And tonight, I can't wait for y'all to meet Chelsea. Some of you might remember Chelsea last week during celebrations. She said she was 6 months sober. Chelsea and I have some things in common, don't we? Sometimes the things we have in common in this community are the hard things. So, of course, we know the battle of the bottle. We know the battle of addiction. But we also both lost a brother to this brutal disease of addiction. And Chelsea has this way of talking about joy. And then she tells me this story that starts with, man, this is the story I never heard in relapse, or I'm sorry, never heard this story in rehab, but I wish I would have heard this story in rehab. And I said, man, you got to come share this story with us. So help me welcome my friend Chelsea into the living room.
Hello.
You're on.
So, y'all, I'm doing this scared.
Yeah, do it scared. Do it scared. We did a whole series on fear.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
a couple months back.
Carrie like turned me onto this. I've never actually shared my story in a public forum like
And
this.
here you are.
And here I am.
So your friend gave you, your neighbor gave you a snowflake because she said there's no one
Sandra!
snowflake alike.
Oh,
There you
man.
go. Beautiful.
Sandra, thank you so much.
All right, Chelsea, let's start here. So, just tell us kind of where it started for you.
Yeah.
Where'd you pick things up when it comes to addiction?
Sure. I was very blessed. I was born into a family. I had an older brother when I was born. He was 2 years older than me, and I was born into a family of joy. My parents really, it was a house filled of joy and laughter and religion. And my parents actually just celebrated in October 43 years of marriage.
All right, congratulations
And
to them.
they just make it look effortless.
Yeah.
So, my brother and I think I was really born to be a little sister. And my brother, he and I were we were partners in crime, really.
Yeah.
We were each other's alibis, always. And we never got into major trouble, but we were always there for each other. And my brother, when he was 18, he had left to go to college. And he experimented with drugs and illicit drugs. And it got him. It grabbed him. Yeah. And he came back a different person. And I think we shared in this story that I found I was never going to take a drug. Not one, ever. Yeah. Nothing.
You looked at him and said, I'm not going to be that one.
I don't want to do it because I saw how hard it was for him to get out of that. Yeah. So I didn't do anything. I didn't get into pain pills or anything like that. But I was a social drinker. Yeah. And I watched my brother go through this really hard battle, but he made it out. He figured it out somehow. He got help and he got sober. And when I was 27, and he was just on the heels of turning 29, he had an injury where he had to go through surgery. And he got through the surgery okay, and I got a call from my mom 2 days later. And she was obviously upset, and she said, Chelsea, Chris is here at the house. My brother's name is Chris. And she said, he didn't make it. I mean, he's overdosed. And I was like, no, he didn't overdose. He's sober. Like, it doesn't make sense. I could not wrap my head around it. And when I finally realized that was it, that was my older brother, my protector. He was my bedrock, and he was gone. I couldn't call him to be upset that he was gone. It was just over in a moment's notice. And I think at that moment I hit my knees. My knees hit the ground, and I just started just crying. My mom. That's when I realized it was the capital O, capital D. Yeah. It was over. And I came down, and for the next month, what did I do? I turned to the bottle.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Like, how do you explain that to people? How do you tell that story? The thing I saw the worst outcome of, I went towards it.
I think I was convincing myself, hey, it wasn't drugs. Like, this is a legal thing. I can do it, and I can turn to this because it makes it not feel so bad.
Yeah, the mind is a funny thing, isn't it?
It's a funny
lies
thing.
We can tell ourselves.
Oh, yeah. And so that whole month after he passed away, I was just like, I found solace in the bottom of a bottle everywhere I could get it.
When did it get bad enough for you? Because you got over 6 months sober now. What happened?
For about a decade, after the first month, I realized, like, I got to pick up. I got to rebound. I need to figure this thing out. I got to carry the torch from my brother. I got to add chapters to his story because it can't end that way. And I was in a career where I was doing really well, but alcohol was everywhere. I mean, I was traveling a lot, airports, hotels, whining and dining, like that was like just a normal thing. But I was really burning the candle at both ends. I was out there doing my thing and proving to the world I was okay, while I was also suffering in silence and drinking in secrecy. Yeah. And when I was, this year actually is when it really came to a head. There were times where I was like, I'm gonna try being sober. I'm gonna try to rebound. And I would do a bout of sobriety for a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and then my addiction brain would kick in and say, "Hey, see, you can do it. You bought a house and you're crushing your career. You don't have a problem. You're good. You got this." And so I would go back to it, and every time I went back to it, it was worse. And it really hit a head in May of this year. My dog, my 9-year-old dog that was like my buddy, he passed away, and I turned to the bottle again. I was right back to the bottom.
Yeah.
That's when it happened.
And the family came in, right?
Family came in. And when we talked about this, I said intervention, but I would actually use a different word. It wasn't an intervention. It was, my family came in with compassion because they saw the girl that used to seek joy. I was just a joyful person, but I was no longer a joyful person at that point. I was sad, and I didn't even look like myself. And they came in and they shared how much they wanted that girl back. It wasn't about what my addiction did to them, and I'm so grateful for them to have come in and just, let's go. So the next day, this is May 29th, my sober date, I went into a place called Palmer Lake Recovery. It's where I met my buddy Charles, who's on, and a few others as well.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock we'll have a Palmer Lake crowd here, right?
Yeah, I think
Generally.
so. Yeah. And I was scared, rehab. I didn't want that to be part of my narrative. I didn't want help, but I knew I needed it at that point. Yeah. I knew there wasn't.
How long were you there?
I did not have a great experience in rehab because I had done so much damage to my body. I was going back and forth to a hospital, and I almost died, actually, at one point. My organs started to shut down 14 days into my recovery, and they rushed me back to the hospital. And I know you said you like surprises, so here you go. I got one for you.
Give me the surprise. Unexpected gifts.
14 days in, I was in res. I was like so committed. I wanted to stay and like figure this thing out. I did not want to have to go back to rehab. And things just started to not make sense. My brain wasn't working very well. And somebody walked into my room, a nurse. And she sat by my bed. She's like, "Tulsi, something's not right. Something's wrong. We got to get you back to, you got to go back to the hospital." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to go back to the hospital. I've done that. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired. Just let me sleep." She would not let me sleep. She said, "We'll get you, and then when you're done, you can come back." And her name was Mary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she saved my life that day. So I went back to the hospital. I went to emergency surgery. It was terrifying, and that's when I realized this is not about anyone else. This is not about appearances. This is not about, I want joy back, and I can't do it unless I do it for me.
Yeah.
So 5 days later, I was getting ready to be discharged from the hospital, and my dad had flown out, and he was right there listening to all my pink cloud stories about all the things I wanted to do, and he's like, "You're still in a hospital, Ken. You probably just like chill out for a second." And I when they were discharging me, they said, "Hey, like, what's your home address and your home pharmacy?" And I was like, "Home? No. Are you kidding? I have more work to do. Take me back to rehab right now.
Yeah.
I want to go right back to rehab because I never want to be here again." And that's when I really realized that I was doing this for me, not for anyone else. And I went back to rehab.
So good. So what's, okay, so the story you told me, you said, man, this is the story I didn't hear in rehab, but I wish I would have heard this story in rehab. And it had to do with, in fact, what you said is, I didn't hear the story of someone who was dangerously close to relapsing, but didn't relapse. So we hear the story of they were dangerously close to relapsing and they relapsed, and we know what that story's like.
Yeah.
But what happened in the airport?
Yeah.
When was this, by the way?
This was October 2nd.
October 2nd.
October 2nd. I was 4 months into my recovery. I'd never made it past 4 months at this point. So I was headed to the airport, and something happened, something else that I wasn't prepared for. And we talked about this, like, you know, if you have to get ready, that's what I was doing. I was operating under that idea that, like, I can get ready for the airport. I can plan for it. I can, you know, have a show or a book or whatever. I can go straight to the plane. But this particular morning, something else happened, and I wasn't prepared for it. And so immediately my addiction brain, I like to call it my party goblin. My party goblin was like, "Yeah, all right, well, we've done it. We did 4 months. Let's go back to the bar." And I made a decision that I was going to relapse. And while I was in rehab, my roommate had been through this before. She'd done the whole rehab and then had to go. She relapsed, so came back. We made a pact. We said, "Hey, look, no judgment, no trying to talk each other off the ledge. It's just one extra hurdle you have to cross." I got to the bar, and I ordered a drink. And I went to get my phone. And in my haste to get to the bar and get that drink, I realized I had left my phone in the bathroom. And I said, "Bartender, I'm sorry, 1 second. I got to run back and I've got to get my phone." This is the beauty of the silence and the wait, the power of wait. I realized when I was walking back to get my phone, praise be, like, my phone was still there somehow, but it was silent for a second. And that is when my recovery brain, like my executive brain, kicked back in. All the things I learned in rehab kicked back in. Why are you doing this? Are you doing it for somebody else, or why are you doing this? No, I'm doing it for me. And then after I got my phone was still there. I got my phone, and it was like I turned into like Dory from Finding Nemo. It was like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I walked right past the bar, and y'all, I can tell you, like, there was no high like that feeling of knowing that I beat it. That addiction was right there, and I was ready to do it. I could taste it, but I said, "Nope, not today."
So did you even go back to the bar?
Nope.
So you didn't tell the bartender, "Sorry, take that drink away"?
I said, I was like, "Take it away," and I said I was going to come back, but I didn't. I walked right past it, went right to my gate. And I think I told you, when I got on the plane, I was like high on my own supply at this point. It was just like feeling so good. I gave up my aisle seat for a middle seat so that a couple that was traveling together could sit together. And the flight attendant was like, "Hey, that was really nice of you. We'd like to give you a free drink." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, another W. Okay, no, I'm good, thanks. I would like a burger, please, though."
A burger?
A burger. And I sat on the plane, and I had a burger and a Diet Coke. And I ended up talking to the person that was involved in the thing that happened that morning, and it was nothing. But at that moment, my addiction brain said it was everything.
Yeah,
It was everything.
totally.
But it was nothing.
Yeah.
We hashed it out. She's on right now on the live stream, and I'm grateful for that experience because now I know I have the skills and the tools to beat it.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Well, yeah, we could celebrate that. And you told me if you stay ready, then you don't have to get ready. I think it was your mom who tells you this, right?
Yeah, it's a classic phrase in sales and marketing. Like, as long as you stay ready, you never have to get ready. And that's really what I learned at that moment in my life.
Yeah.
It was, hey, look, I was actually, to be honest, I was afraid to go out anymore. I was like, what if I go out to a bar and like somebody offers me a drink? What am I gonna do? I don't know how. I gotta get ready. And I realized at that moment, I knew how to stay ready. So now I got my life back.
Yeah.
And if I want to go do karaoke or go like play pool or like go to a concert, anything, I can do it because I know I can stay ready. My armor is right there.
Yeah.
And I'm always dressed and ready.
Yeah. So tell us in closing, Chelsea, what draws you to Free? Why'd you start coming to Free?
I was reluctant.
Yeah.
I was not an AA. God and I kind of broke up when my brother died because I couldn't understand.
Yep.
I just didn't get
Me
it.
too.
And I thought, I don't see myself going to a place where God is the central part of it. Didn't get it. And I after I left rehab, I went to an outpatient IOP, and I continued on in my recovery. But people kept saying, like, come on, just come back. Go to Free. Free's awesome. You'll love it. It's like a concert. You'll love it. I promise you'll love it. And I was like, okay, fine. Because I knew that my community was going to be here.
Yeah.
That was the most important part. So I came the first time, and I'll be the first to admit, I was like, this is very Jesus-y, and I'm not really sure
Very
about
Jesus-y.
the kind of person. It's very Bible-driven, and it wasn't there yet. God and I had not made up yet. But I felt this magic in this room. I mean, if you look around in this room, each and every one of you picked this place tonight. You chose to come here, and I felt that. So it was really all about the community. So yeah, maybe I agree with many things, maybe I don't agree with everything. It doesn't really matter because I'm here with the people who get it, who have been there, or who have seen people like go through the struggles. And ever since then, I've come back. Every time I'm in town, I'm like, I'm right here on Saturdays.
Congratulations on 6 years.
6
of
months.
Recovery. So 6 years.
Actually,
talk about doing frontsies.
Monday.
6 months. of
Monday
recovery.
is 200 days for me. So
200 days. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Chelsea's going to be sticking around because we're going to do this again at 7 o'clock. But if you want to get to know her more, if you're struggling, if you're new, she's got something to say to you. So talk to Chelsea. Let's hear it for Chelsea Berthet, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thanks, bud.
Beautiful. You want to take that and do pass it around? Oh, yeah. All right, y'all. The way we close down on a Saturday night is very similar to how we begin. We begin with celebrations, but then we close with what we call heartaches, the burdens that you carry. Sometimes we try to carry those burdens alone because we're going to be strong and we can do it on our own and we don't need nobody. And then you find out you suck at doing that. You actually need people. It's why you have community. It's why we have a God who hears the cries of the people. So, Josh, can I give that to you again, brother? If you want some prayer, some encouragement, some lifting up, that's what this time is for, this 3 minutes. And again, if you're joining us online, you can drop your heartaches in the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments. We'll join with you there. In-house, just raise up your hand, and we'll take 3 minutes for this. This time is yours.
Hi, I'm going to stand up. Is that okay? I'm Jennifer, and I've been talking for a few months, about once a week, and I wanted to say just a couple quick things. I'm leaving the country for almost, I'll be back in about a month. And I've told you guys, and Ryan knows this, that on the December 26th, my 3 adult children and 2 son-in-laws were in a fatal car accident. And my daughter, my son-in-law Willie was killed instantly, and we're gonna go spend, Christmas is now the anniversary of their death. And so we're gonna go to Ecuador and be with them, which is amazing and beautiful. But my daughter was in a coma for a while, and when you talked about the waiting room, I waited, and I waited every day, and I sat with her every day, and I saw her every day. And one day I had to come into the waiting room where a doctor told my whole family, there is no hope. And it was literally the worst moment of my life. But why I'm sharing this now is that I relapsed during this year. Right now I'm clean and sober again. And I really have to credit that with this room and what you were saying about the feeling when you walk in this room. And I also don't believe in coincidences, and I believe in synchronicity. My daughter Sonia's best friend of her whole life was named Chelsea. And so I thought of it, I literally cried when she only had one friend, and she only had one man ever. She never dated. She met her husband when she was 19. They got married when they were 20, and they died together. And she also was
Jennifer,
29, and I got to go.
I'll get to some others too.
But thank you so much. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you, Jennifer.
You won't have to hear me for a month.
We love hearing from you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Debbie, and I need some prayers. The Bible reminds me that I can't put new wine in old wineskins, and that's kind of what I've been trying to do. So I need prayers to help me get on track to have a Christian and sober life. Thank you.
Yeah. Glad you're here, Debbie. Prayers for you.
My name is Peyton. I'm an addict, and I have put down some good roots here in my recovery. I've got almost 3 months clean, and I'm kind of in a financial bind, and my real option right now is to go back home to Grand Junction for a little while. And I have a really hard time staying clean there, just old people, places, and things. I'm just asking for some prayers that I can stay strong in my recovery out there, and find some success too. So.
Good for you for sharing that, Peyton. Prayers for you as you go. Yeah, glad you're here.
Hi, my name is Christy. I'm an alcoholic. Prayers for my family. My husband had a stroke 18 months ago, and then he fell and broke his hip, and we have a fairly large ranch, and it's been a lot on me, and I relapsed. But I'm up here now with friends, sober friends, taking a little break and time out. But I know it's going to be a struggle, and I don't want my marriage to end because of this.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So glad you're here, Christy, and prayers for you. And congratulations for being back. Josh, you want to join me up here, dude? So we can join our online people? You got to have the mic, though. You're just going to put it down. Come on now. Now you got to watch the poinsettia here. You might get in the way of your reading. You want to take the first one?
Yes, sir. Brenna Krausen, please pray for my sweet sister Liz, going through a very hard family time.
All right, prayers for Liz. Caitlin says, carrying a burden of anxiety and dealing with the fear that comes from it, trying to grow closer to God and feel His comfort, pushing through for myself and my 3 babies. Caitlin, prayers for you, lifting you up tonight. Keep pushing through. You got a whole community of people with you.
All right, Christy Sunberg. Prayers for my coworker, Kara. She has been very sick, and they are trying to find answers.
Yeah, lifting up Kara tonight. Good to have you here, Christy. And Charles says, I lost my earthly father last Sunday. I know he loves me, and the Lord keeps me strong. Charles, dude, prayers for you during a time of grief and the loss of your father, and I'm glad you joined us tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight, Josh, and for passing the mic. The best mic passers we've ever had, Josh and Chelsea. All right, y'all, if you have been impacted by this mission of breaking the silence of addiction, creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection, well, we do need to remind you that we are funded by you, the people. Thank you so much to those of you that have made this a practice in your life of giving. You've made it a spiritual practice, a sacrificial practice, and I love to every week take the opportunity to say thank you. It truly makes a difference here. Thank you for being a part of it. If you would like to give to Free tonight, well, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can download the app, Free Recovery Community. It's free to download. All of our content's on that app. There's a giving button on that app. You can give one time or set it up to be reoccurring and do weekly, monthly, however you want to do it. We're grateful for all of it. You can do the same thing on the website, freerecoverycommunity.com, or for those of you in-house, there's the 2 kiosks just outside the back doors and the front doors here for like cash and checks, old types of giving that way, but we still welcome it. And there's the giving kiosk. It's the one-tap system just outside these doors. One tap, tap-a-roo, and you have it. It's kind of a fun, easy, simple, safe way to give. Oh, and I should tell you all this. We had a matching gift. Remember 2 weeks ago? Someone said, hey, I want to give $15,000 if you can match it. See if the community can get it matched. And so we put 2 weeks to it. Y'all know what you did? It was $15,000. Y'all went way above and beyond, and we raised an additional $23,705 thanks to you all and being online too. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Huge gratitude. Shall we go out with a prayer? I would encourage you to just open up the hands. Take a big, deep breath. Yeah, you're worthy of all the good, all the joy. And you don't have to worry about that next shoe dropping. Just have joy in this moment. A silent moment. And if you don't know the Serenity Prayer, it's a very simple prayer. It's on your screen. We'll pray it together. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Grace and peace to you. See you next time.